It's now our honor and privilege to pay tribute to the memory of our fellow firefighters who we lost on 9/11 by presenting an award that memorializes the name and the legacy of Chief Ray Downey, one of the greatest fire service leaders of all time. Please join with me in welcoming the Chief Executive Officer of Penwell Corporation, the parent company of fire engineering and FDIC, Mr. Robert F. Biachini.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm honored again to be here with you again this morning to celebrate the life and legacy of Chief Ray Downey and to participate in the 82nd Annual Fire Department Instructors Conference. This year marks the 14th anniversary of fire engineering's direction of the FDIC conference, which I think everyone in the world looks to in terms of fire rescue. On behalf of all of us at Penwell and Fire Engineering, welcome to the FDIC 210 conference and exhibition that North America's finest firefighters have made the single largest and most important fire rescue show in the world. We at Penwell thank you for your continuing support, and as the CEO of Penwell, I am very proud to be able to support and direct the most meaningful fire training and educational event in the entire world. You people save lives, and we're happy to be a part of it. To deliver this world-class program, we have many great partners. I would love to, but time will not permit mentioning all of them. But please accept my deepest appreciation to all whose selfless efforts make this great conference possible and a continuing success as the world's most successful fire rescue event. You have made FDIC an event firefighters around the world need and are proud and eager to be a part of. Further, I would like to extend a special thanks to you for all of you firefighters here today, not only for your participating in this special week, but also for your dedication to your duties throughout the year that provide a safety net for our family, our friends, and our neighbors. This is deeply appreciated. This morning, I am once again deeply honored to participate in the presentation of the Ray Downey Courage and Valor Award. I knew Chief Ray Downey, and he was an extraordinary man. I first met him here 15 years ago. And throughout his life, he personified fire service courage and valor. Chief Downey was famous for his accomplishments in his service to New York City and the nation. And yet, he was and remained a humble but passionate professional to the very end. Like every one of you, he often repeated during his illustrious career that he was, in quotes, just doing his job. Firefighting was a job that Chief Downey took as seriously as his earlier commitment to the U.S. Marine Corps. It is the same spirit of dedication to duty that this award bearing his name represents today. The Courage and Valor Foundation mission is to help honor an individual firefighter whose actions reached extraordinary heights. The Courage and Valor Foundation and this perpetual endowment that we have set up will assist the American Fire Service in continuing to recognize Chief Downey and those firefighters whose bravery and action in the face of certain harm mirrors his. This morning, we gather to honor another true American hero, Yuba City Fire Department Captain Eric Hankins. Captain Hankins' conspicuous act of bravery under life-threatening conditions resulted in saving the lives of 2 young children whom, without his intervention and his risk of life, would have succumbed to a tragic fate. Captain Hankins' actions reflect on the fire service and its true values. So today, we recognize him individually, but in a greater sense, his actions are a mirror of the outstanding actions of all of you. And you are faced with these, performing your work each day in saving lives when you are called. The Courage and Valor Foundation wishes to extend its appreciation and thanks to the National Fallen Firefighters Foundation, represented on stage here today by Director Ron Cernicki, and the National Fire Academy Alumni Association, represented by President Ron Ketterman. They're standing here today with us as well. We rely on all of you to bring in candidates for this Courage and Valor, and we have a committee that works on it, and we are grateful for the intense work that is brought before us in making this selection. We are grateful to these men and the associations they represent for assisting in the Ray Downey Courage and Valor Award selection process. Now, please join me in welcoming FDNY Battalion Chiefs Joe Downey and Chuck Downey, Ray's sons, who represent chips off the old Downey block, for the presentation of the 2010 Ray Downey Courage and Valor Award.
Thank you, Bob. On behalf of the entire Downey family, thank you for continuing to memorialize the legacy of our father with this tremendously important award.
Thank you also, Bob. Joe and I feel especially proud this morning to see today we honor a firefighter who was able to rescue 2 innocent children. Saving lives is the #1 mission of the fire service. It is particularly important to recognize when it involves the lives of those who are most susceptible and vulnerable to ravages of fire. The actions of Captain Hankins, who we honor here this morning, prove how our training and dedication can result in the most important results.
That is right, Chuck. Captain Hankins performed his duty gallantly under adverse and dangerous life-threatening conditions by remaining calm and focused even though he himself had no protection from the fire. His actions in these early morning hours exemplified the highest traditions of the fire service.
But before we tell Captain Hankins' story, we want to express our family's gratitude to the Courage and Valor Foundation. We also would like to thank the fire engineering advisors and staffers who are continuously on the lookout for particularly courageous acts and to request nominations.
The selection process has several components, each involving firefighters from across the country. We receive reports of unparalleled bravery, and it is always a difficult and extremely difficult task to narrow it down to just one firefighter, whose actions rose above all others.
But in the final analysis, again this year, there was one who stood above the rest, one candidate that my brother and I agreed reminded us by his actions of our father, Chief Ray Downey. And now to the 2010 recipient of the Ray Downey Courage and Valor Award.
Mid-morning on January 12, 2009, off-duty Captain Eric Hankins was driving to the fire station when he noticed what thought was steam coming from the roof of a house. As he drew near, he realized that smoke was coming from the eaves of the house. He passed the house, made a U-turn, and called the Yuba City Public Safety Dispatch Center to report that he was on the scene of a possible attic fire. He requested first alarm response and then crossed the street to the home.
The structure's attic had been converted into a studio apartment that could be accessed only from an exterior stairway. As Captain Hankins walked up the staircase, a woman who had been walking down the street began screaming frantically, running towards the house. When she reached the top of the stairs, Captain Hankins had to pull her back to safety. Despite a language barrier, it became apparent to Captain Hankins that the woman had a child trapped inside the burning house.
Captain Hankins, wearing only his street clothes and without regard for his personal safety, opened the door to the apartment and encountered a very heavy smoke. He crawled approximately 15 feet inside the structure, and then he heard a screaming child on the right side of the room. Fire was engulfing the left side and started to violently run across the ceiling. Captain Hankins began his search toward the screams. Visibility was down to only 6 to 12 inches off the floor.
Captain Hankins found a terrified 3-year-old boy sitting on the floor, only by feeling the child's leg. He pulled the child down and carried him outside to the safety of his mother. Thinking he had survived a close call and feeling the tremendous relief of having made a successful rescue, Captain Hankins was beginning to understand he might now have to repeat his act of bravery again in even more intense conditions.
As an exhausted Captain Hankins tried to recover his composure, the mother was frantically screaming that another child was trapped inside. Captain Hankins, exhausted and with complete understanding of the level of risk he must face inside the apartment, once again he re-entered the room to search for the second child.
Flames now were rolling across the ceiling above his head. Heat buildup was significant, and Captain Hankins could feel the energy burning his skin. Listening intently, hoping to get a clue as to where the child might be, he continued his punishing search. The second child did not cry or scream, but Captain Hankins thought he had heard what sounded like a cough. He made a thorough search toward the sound and found a 1-year-old girl back behind the bed, close to the wall.
He picked up the child and took her outside to a mother and the ambulance that had arrived. The family was transported to the hospital. After confirming that no one else was inside the house, Captain Hankins shut the door to try to slow the spread of fire. He notified the Yuba City Public Safety Dispatch Center of the 2 rescues and asked for a second alarm.
After securing aid for the family, Captain Hankins then put on his personal protective equipment and remained on scene until he was joined by the first 2 engine company. He assisted with the fire attack. After the fire was extinguished, Captain Hankins was also transported to the hospital emergency room for observation and treatment of minor burns and smoke inhalation.
Captain Hankins' experience told him that in this type of situation, the risk-benefit analysis would tell a firefighter not to enter under any circumstances. However, with children's lives at stake, Captain Hankins went well above the normal risks associated with firefighting when he entered the burning house that morning, without personal protective gear, without water, without backup, and at great risk to his own life to selfishly save someone else's, not only once, but twice, under worsening conditions the second time.
On the morning of January 13th, 2009, Captain Eric Hankins demonstrated extreme courage and valor. His unfaltering focus and commitment to the saving the lives of 2 trapped children, despite the danger and risk to himself, exemplifies the selfless and highest traditions of the fire service. Captain Hankins' presence of mind and his ability to maintain his awareness and utilize his training under extremely stressful and personally dangerous circumstances made him a hero, and our selection as awardee this year, with the help, of course, the 2 Downey brothers, who always help us in making these selections because they have sensitivity as to the degree of risk. Captain Eric Hankins has been a member of the fire service since 1991. He joined the Yuba City Fire Department in 2000. He has served as captain of Engine Company 1 and is now captain of Engine Company 3. He is a California State Fire Officer, a hazmat specialist, a swift water rescue technician, and a California State Instructor 1. He is a backup dispatcher for Butte Community College and Yuba College in the state of California. He has been a volunteer firefighter for more than 15 years for Sutter County. He is the Executive Vice President and an active member of the Fraternal Order of Leatherhead Society. Captain Hankins has received water rescue training, the Sierra Sacramento Valley EMS Award, the California State Certificate of Recognition, the American Red Cross Hero Award, the City of Yuba City Life Saving Award, and the California State Firefighters Association Medal of Valor. For his extraordinary courage and valor, Penwell and Fire Engineering are honored to present Captain Eric Hankins with the 2010 Ray Downey Courage and Valor Award, along with a check from the foundation for $35,000 from the Fire Engineering Courage and Valor Foundation. It gives me great pleasure to introduce to you your awardee for 2010, Captain Eric Hankins.
Thank you very much. All I could think about coming up the steps was don't trip, because, of course, you always got some wise guy behind you saying, don't trip. I'm going to keep this very short. I don't public speak very much. Very much an honor to be up here today. It was mentioned in the opening remarks. I was honestly just doing what I thought was my job. To even have my name in the same sentences as Chief Downey's is an honor beyond belief, even if it was a quote that said, Ray Downey said Eric Hankins was a piece of garbage. I would have been happy with that, because my name was in the same sentence as his. So Chief Downey was a phenomenal fireman. I had a chief early in my career that was a very, very big FDNY buff. He used to go ride with the special operations way, way, way back when. He knew Chief Downey, and he would always tell stories. So early in my career, I wanted to make sure that to be the best fireman I could, I had to look up to people, and Chief Downey was one of those firemen. So I take this with great honor, and I appreciate everybody coming out. And thank you very much.